Hi, this is Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk on a broad topic, intentional crafting, and I hope to do more short videos on intentional crafting. So they are geared toward the serious crafter, the crafter who does this part-time, full-time, either has an Etsy shop, it participates in a lot of swaps, makes a lot of gifts for family and friends, pretty much any crafter who does more than just dabble for a couple minutes on the weekend. And if that's all you can do, that is amazing and wonderful, and I'm glad that you have that time to do it. But for those of us who do it more of a job or more as a serious hobby, then I just have a couple tips and tricks to keep everything running smoothly. So the one we're going to talk about today is going through your craft drawers and creating something with them. So while I was waiting for some custom orders to print on my printer, I was using my time wisely. I get a lot of comments on my YouTube videos. How do you find all the time? What are you doing, a journal a day? And they're nice comments and I appreciate them. But I get a lot of questions on how I can manage to do so much in what some people think is so little amount of time. And one of the main things is multitasking. I multitask like crazy. So I'm waiting for a custom order to print, and so while I was doing that, I was spray coffee dyeing some papers for a journal for someone, and then while those were drying and my paper was still printing, I started going through one of my drawers to pull out all of the long slips of paper so I could make paper ribbons. And so I have 80 of them here that I did this morning. And if you've seen, they're a mixture of coffee dyed and pattern papers and everything like that. If you've seen my channel, you know about my paper ribbons, and so these are going to be listed in my Etsy shop this morning. There are 80 of them, so there's 4 sets of 20, so you can click the link below. You know the drill if you want any of these. I know they're pretty popular. They're definitely fun to make. So I had all these strips of paper that I had been saving for all of you and to make into paper ribbons, but I have not made paper ribbons in a long time. So that drawer, every time I pulled it out to get something, the papers were getting stuck and they were getting squished and they were making a bigger mess. So I sat down and just started going through some of the drawer and pulling out all of the long papers I could. Some of them I even had to throw away because they were so crushed because I hadn't gotten to it sooner. So because I had not been as intentional as would have been good for me, I had to throw away a couple pieces of crushed paper. Not a big deal. I mean, most people would consider it trash, but all of these scraps, most people would have considered trash, and I just made 80 treasures out of them. So all of these many words to say, my 2-year-old or 3-year-old is banging around over there, so sorry about that. But all of this to say, if you can be intentional about going through small sections of your craft room and creating something and organizing with it. So if you pull out a drawer full of ephemera and scraps, maybe separate some of the scraps into a pile and the ephemera into another pile, and see, maybe get your tag punch out and just punch tags out of all those scraps, throw all the rest of the little pieces in the trash, and now you have a nice set of tags. So intentionally using your time, intentionally going through so you don't wind up with mounds and piles of stuff that you don't know. I hear a lot of people saying things like, I have too much, I can't even use it, I don't know where to start, I just keep collecting. So this year I'm really trying to focus on intentional crafting. So I'm going to get it, I'm going to use it. If I'm not going to use it, I'm going to give it or donate it to somebody. Or like if I have too many paper scraps, because I make a lot of journals. If you watch my channel, you know I make a lot of journals. I have a lot of cut-offs, and there's no way I'm going to use this many paper ribbons, even making all the journals I do. So if you are an Etsy shop owner, think about what you can do to come up to reuse your scraps to not only bring you income, but to clear some of the extra clutter so you can use what you have. If you're not an Etsy shop owner, so I was saying, if you're not an Etsy shop owner, you can think about putting together random acts of kindness for other crafters. You can think about donating even I've seen so many people who would be so grateful for just a bag of scraps. So even if you don't really have the time to turn them into, say, paper ribbons or punch tags out or whatever, you could collect all your scraps that you're not going to use, and maybe you could send them on to someone else who would be very grateful to have all of those different patterns to punch things out with. So those are just a few ideas. I'm going to show you my updated craft room. I just cleaned recently and reorganized. It's a little messy because I have a couple things going on right now, but I just want to take you down here and flip this camera around if I can figure out how to. Okay, so I was filming right here, and here's my paper ribbons, and I moved my filming from the island to here in my craft room so I could clean my kitchen up. So I have my lighting set up there, and I still have like books and totes in here. This is a mess. This is definitely something I need to work on. But my table here and where I'm working, I kind of cleared out. There used to be a big freezer here, and I bought this at Walmart, and I like how there's a lot of room and these kind of locks, so it keeps it really closed. And so everything that was kind of blocking my view out the window, I moved up here and here, and so I could move the freezer out of the way, actually use the freezer, and now my space is more bright, it's more open, and I'm really enjoying that. So I hope that you really enjoyed this episode of intentional crafting. I always like to start little series and things like that. So if you're interested in any of these paper ribbons, just click my shop link below, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and please put in the comments below, what are some ways you intentionally craft, and what are some ways you go through your stock and supply and either send things on to other people or make things for your Etsy shop. Give me some hints and tips, because I still need to learn, and I still need lots of hints and tips myself.